I'm taking a $55 grocery haul and I'm turning that into your week of easy, healthy dinners. This is the fourth recipe of the week. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my series where I'm turning a $55 grocery haul that I shopped for this week into a week of easy, healthy dinners. I'm making 5 dinner recipes this week. Each dinner recipe serves 4 people. At the end of the week, you're gonna have 20 servings of delicious and veggie and protein-packed meals. This is the 4th recipe of the week. So if you've missed the other recipes or you're looking for what the grocery list is, all that information you can find in the description of this video. Please hit subscribe and follow along if you like this concept and you think you want to give it a try. I've done this series 10 different times. I call it my budget grocery series. So at this point, I feel like it's second nature for me to be able to find different ways to reuse ingredients, make our ingredients stretch, and just cook healthy and veggie packed meals on a budget. All the recipes are gluten-free and dairy-free. And if you're new here, I'm really excited to show you how it all works. Today, we're gonna be making a very simple weeknight dinner. It's gonna be a pesto chicken meatball recipe, and we're gonna pair it with some pesto pasta, and it's just gonna be bright and a little bit summery, but still cozy, just like all of the other recipes. Again, very, very simple. So I'm looking forward to kind of just like curling up on the couch and eating this one after I'm done making it. Before we get into making the recipe today, let's just touch on what all the ingredients are gonna be and what the components of the dish will be. Okay, so all of the ingredients that are gonna go in today's kale pesto pasta with pesto chicken meatballs. Firstly, our pesto that we made. This was from the white bean, lemon, and pesto soup that we made the other day. So if you're following along and you reserved your pesto, then that's what you're gonna use. You could also use store-bought pesto, or you can make the pesto today. If you didn't make it the other day, I have the ingredients and the full recipe linked for you in the description. So the pesto is a key component. We have about 3/4 of a cup left. And then the other ingredients are spaghetti. I'm using brown rice and quinoa spaghetti from Trader Joe's, keeping all the recipes gluten and dairy free. Or if you're not gluten free, regular spaghetti is totally fine. But I do like how this one has a little bit of protein in it. Also going into the pasta is some nutritional yeast, which is also in the pesto. This just adds a little bit of cheesy flavor. And if you don't want to use it, you can swap it for grated Parmesan. We're gonna use some more lemon. I have a pound of ground chicken. You could use ground turkey as well, but I think the ground chicken is gonna be really good for this. We have some fresh basil leaves left over from making the pesto and the soup that I'm gonna mix into the pasta. And then as far as staples, very simple. We're gonna use olive oil, salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and dried oregano. Like I said, not a lot of ingredients. And the first step is gonna be to make our chicken meatballs. There's really no veggie prep that we have to do, which I always love. So I'm gonna start tossing those together and I'll talk through everything that goes in. Okay, meatball prep. So while we're doing this, I just put a pot of water on to boil. That's gonna be for our pasta. And I preheated the oven to 400 and lined a small-ish, maybe medium-sized sheet pan with parchment paper. So let's put all of our meatball ingredients in the mixing bowl. First, it's gonna be 1 pound of ground chicken. Now we're gonna do a 1/4 cup of the pesto that we prepped. Reserve the rest of the pesto. We're gonna use the rest in the pasta. Now I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of dried oregano. I'm gonna do about a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And last thing, I'm adding the zest of 1/2 of a lemon. Now people normally ask me when I make meatballs, like it doesn't need egg to bind it together because usually in a meatball recipe, you find egg in there. I have been making meatballs like this for a long time now. And as long as you have some of these other components, like in here, we obviously have the pesto, which is gonna help bind it together. I never have any issues with it. As long as you form them into nice little balls before you put it in the oven, you're not gonna have an issue. And now I'm just gonna mix it all up until it's a uniform mixture. I love how adding the pesto is making it so that there's almost little like speckles of green throughout. Okay, and now that it's looking like a pretty uniform mixture, it's time to roll into balls. I'm gonna scoop the meatball mix using this little cookie scoop. You can use a different size if you want to. I like to make them kind of small. This is about 2 tablespoons, and that's gonna make it so they cook really quickly. If you wanna make a bigger meatball, you totally can. Just adjust the cook time as needed. And I like using the cookie scoop because I know that they're all gonna be the same size. So that made me about 18 meatballs, and now I'm just adding a little bit of oil to my hands and I'm gonna shape them into balls. Now these are ready for the oven. These will cook very quickly, so I'm gonna start them at just like 12 minutes. And my water just started boiling, which is perfect timing. I think this is gonna time up very nicely. So I'm adding in my spaghetti. Just don't want those to stick together. I just drained my pasta, so I'm just adding it back to the pot. I reserved 1 cup of pasta water. That's very important, make sure you do that. And the heat is off. I have the pasta back in the pot, and now I'm adding the rest of our pesto. The remaining pesto is about a 1/2 cup, so you can add all of it in there. And then I'm starting with half of the reserved pasta water. Now let's mix this to just cover the pasta in kind of like a coat of pesto. Just like a light coating. This is not a heavily sauced pasta. I kind of wanted it to feel summery in that way, but I'm gonna add lemon juice. I'm also adding in the rest of our basil. It's a cup of basil leaves. Now we've used all of the basil that we got. And you just wanna mix that into wilt. You could also finely chop the basil. I just kind of kept them as whole leaves because most of the pieces were really small anyways. Okay, and the meatballs are just about done. So I'm gonna keep this off the heat and grab those out of the oven. I love that they're green. They're so pretty. Okay, very simple pasta is done, and our meatballs are also done. They look really great. Even the oil coming off of them is green from the pesto, and I love how green this meal is. I do want to try one of the meatballs just to see how they came out, so I'm gonna steal a bite. They are delicious. They have just the right amount of pesto in there, in my opinion. It just gives that little bit of pesto taste, but not overpowering because we're gonna have the pesto in the pasta as well. I'm really excited to have a bite of everything at once, so let's get it plated up. Okay, time for the best part, time to taste it. And I know I already tasted the meatballs, but I'm looking forward to this entire plate. I love making a meal that's really not a lot of work, but still incorporates those same kind of principles that I like to include in all my recipes. Like, it still has veggies in here, but they're in a different form than usual. I've made the pesto, but there's a lot of basil in there, which is nutrient packed. And I think people forget about that. And also in season still, which is great. And I love how it's a little bit cozy, but it has the flavors of summer. You have the lemon, you have the pesto, but it's still kind of like a warm, cozy pasta dish. I just like the contrast of those two things. And I think this dish is gonna be perfect for a busy weeknight. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Let's just dig right in. It's so simple, but it's also so good. It's so comforting. It's delicious. It's flavor packed. And it's just the kind of food that I actually want to eat. Something at the end of a long day I'm actually going to be looking forward to digging into, and honestly looking forward to making because it is so easy. I have a feeling like this one is going to end up on my monthly, at least, dinner rotation. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was the 4th recipe of this week. We have one more recipe coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Get links for everything that's been posted in the description. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, or if you've tried any of the meals yet. I am dying to know. So please let me know, and please subscribe to my channel. It just takes 2 seconds and it's so, so helpful. And if you want to follow me on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or Pinterest, I'm on everything. So get those links in the description and subscribe to my newsletter. At the end of the week, I am sending out a recap of the grocery list, all of the recipes. You can find everything in one spot. So get on the newsletter. That's completely free. I do have a paid portion, but this recap is completely free, and it'll be going out on Sunday. So thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna be back tomorrow with the last recipe for this week. I seriously can't wait, and I will see you then.